January 13th, starting 2023 off real strong, we are going to be getting Dominaria Remastered. Now, Dominaria Remastered is a complete reprint set. There are no brand new cards, and it is a collection of cards from any set that has ever been set on Dominaria, whether that's Alpha, Dominaria, I think there's some Dominaria United stuff. Any set ever set on Dominaria has a possibility of being in here, and it is just gathered up to create a new draft environment. And if you look at the cards, I'll have the card list in the description below. But this kind of looks like it's going to be a really fun draft environment. And ultimately, I'll just come off the bat right now before we get too much into is it worth it to buy it. I think that's ultimately going to be the deciding factor. Does this set look fun to draft for you? If so, buy a box. If not, just buy the singles you want. You can click off this video now. All right, I'll elaborate. This isn't the first time that we've done this. We've also done this with Time Spiral Remastered and Double Masters, taking a bunch of other cards, putting them together. Time Spiral Remasters, I guess, is the better example because it was from that block put into one set for a new draft environment. This is probably my biggest fear. Time Spiral Remastered and Double Masters were both sets that were kind of this format, and unfortunately, as awesome as they were, as much as people liked them, as much as people were willing to spend the extra money on them, because these are more expensive, depending on where you're looking around. You're looking at $7 and $9 a pack, you're looking at $250 for a box. Boxes are 36 packs, which is good. That's a good amount for if you're drafting or sealing or playing sealed or whatever. The problem is that those sets had very limited print runs, so they were running out, and that meant that people were selling them on the secondhand market for a lot more than what they were intended to sell for, or whatever Wizards wanted you to think they were intended to sell for, because, you know, they hide MSRP or whatever, even though that's nonsensical because they're officially selling stuff through Amazon and Amazon has pricing, but whatever, I won't die on that hill today. So that's a concern of mine going into this full-heartedly, is that as much as I would maybe consider buying this, I'm scared that it's either gonna get price gouged or the print run is just gonna be way too low. But let's talk about that price tag a little bit more. Now, there are plenty of high value reprints in this set. Maybe half of the rares, pretty much all of the mythics are pretty good value. And with that said, a lot of the cards are getting the new borderless treatments with new arts, and I think that a lot of the value in the set is probably actually going to come from those. It's like, yeah, you could spend $20 on this version, but here's a fancier version for $40, $50. I think that's where a lot of the value in the set is going to come from, which honestly is cool. I think that's how Magic should be, just in general, is affordable versions of cards, not that $20 is that affordable, but, you know, in comparison, have cards that are more affordable, and then if you want a certain style, there's a fancier, more expensive option. I think that's how Magic should just be in general. Unfortunately, a lot of the other rares in the set, and then obviously a lot of the commons and uncommons, are just kind of bulk. A lot of them aren't that fancy. There's not as much value to be had there. There's a couple of commons and uncommons that, you know, would almost make up for the price of a pack, not quite. So there is that. But if you're just cracking a box for value, you're taking a huge gamble. Now, obviously, you could say that they're doing this for the gamble aspect of it, but I don't think so. I mean, this is supposed to be a draft environment. If you have a bunch of cards that are cheap, so you print them at a lower rarity, well, all of a sudden that's going to drastically warp the way that the limited environment goes, whether that be draft or sealed, and that just that's a nightmare waiting to happen. So they have to bump it up the rarity so that you don't see as many of them in the limited format. On a financial standpoint, that's kind of a bummer. But if you're buying this for draft or whatever, that is technically the correct answer here. But this does look like a really fun set to draft with that set, more so than Double Masters. But again, I will say, I wanted to get a box of Double Masters, but there was the supply issue and I wasn't able to get it. So are we gonna have that problem again? If not, I'll probably get a box. If so, I don't think I'm willing to spend the extra money, especially since, again, I would be buying the box to play limited with my friends. But I would like to then also be able to have a good chance of using those cards, again, whether that be to slot into my commander decks that already exist, or to sell them and then use that money to get cards I actually want or need. So if these prices do go up, it's not gonna be for me. I will still probably buy some singles though, because even with the higher price tag that the set has, we did see this with Double Masters, that card prices did momentarily still come down a little bit. So I will still snag up some singles if I don't end up getting a box and playing limited with friends. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you excited for Dominaria Remastered? Do you think this looks fun? Are you gonna play draft? Are you gonna play sealed? Are you just gonna crack some packs for fun? Are you just gonna pick up the singles you need? I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong answer. I think it depends on your wallet, but then also the kind of player you are. Do you enjoy the endorphin kick you get from just cracking packs, whether or not it has good value or not? Or are you not really into the sealed and draft? Or are you just, you know, gonna pick up the couple cards you need for your decks? Let me know. That's all I have for this video. I'll see you guys later.